where they have strayed off course and they're seeking out these same means. But even when you stray off course, you start back intaking your proper water, your fruit, grains, nuts, and vegetables. The way that God has designed our food is going to accomplish what he needs it to. Satan's way also is a dependency upon vitamins and or herbs. But we know that God's way is a complete way. Now, are we saying that there's something wrong with vitamins and herbs? No. They have their place and they are needed. But we are not to be totally dependent upon these things. We should be getting what we need in terms of vitamins through our foods. Now, you have some people that say, you know, the food that you purchase from certain stores, they've done tests on it and it does not have the proper vitamin or mineral content. Well, God never told us to go out and start trying to examine our food to see if the proper mineral content is there. We are to trust God at his word and what he's told us. Now, sometimes there is a need for supplementation. Let me say that. Especially when a person is they can be vitally low in certain areas. Like take for one, we talked about vitamin D. There's a point in time where there could be a need for supplementation. And so we're not saying that you would never do supplements, but that a person who, sometimes I've seen people, they may have 9, 10 pills that they're taking every morning. This is my supplement for this. This is my supplement for that. This is my supplement for so on and so forth. That is never God's intention. It has never been God's intention. So we need to make sure we're sticking to his true methods. And also Dr. Grivas touched on this, so I won't go into that. He talked about our dependency upon medications. And that we know, once again, based on Pathways, page 36, it says, by the use of poisonous drugs, many bring upon themselves lifelong illness, and many lives are lost that might be saved by the use of natural methods of healing. It says the poisons contained in many so-called remedies create habits and appetites that mean ruin to both soul and body. So once again, it's just a reminder in terms of, as Dr. Grivas mentioned, we're not to be dependent upon drugs for our healing, nor should we sometimes point others. Is there a point in time and a place in time where they may be necessary? Of course it is. Of course it is. But for continual use, when we know other means and methods that we can teach people and share with them, that's what we should be looking at. In God's way, once again, utilize the 8 laws that he's given us. There have been some cases of some people sometimes when we sit down and we do consultations with them, where they have their medications and so on and so forth. But when they start following God's means of healing, they get the results. And their doctors actually take them off the medication. You've heard the stories that Brother Lucas shared, my wife has shared, and myself. There's just testimony after testimony after testimony. And sometimes something as simple as not eating in between your meals, not drinking water with your meals, for people who have acid reflux. And within a week, the reflux is gone. Something as simple as that. And prayerfully, we've explained the process in that in terms of the fermentation and what that does, and also it causes the food to come back up. Now, Satan's way is to use a large percentage of raw foods. You know, since I've been here, I've heard a lot of people talking about raw foods. Well, in Pathways, and then there's something that I found, page 98. Pathways, page 98, she talks about the cooking of food. She talks about where our grains need to be cooked for 2 hours. Several hours, I should say, not necessarily 2. Thanks for that correction. It says that all should learn what to eat and how to cook it. Men as well as women need to understand the simple, healthful preparation of food. So here she's clearly saying we need to learn how to cook. This whole issue of raw food has its origin in New Age teaching, because they do not believe in harming the food itself and about this whole theory of live enzymes. Well, now the gastric acid in your stomach, anything, quote, live, when it's dumped into acid, what happens to it? it's broken down, and because of the acid in our stomach, I won't say it's destroyed, because it's not destroyed, it's broken down to be utilized. If the pancreas produces all the enzymes that we need to digest our food, if in your mouth as well there are digestive enzymes to start the process, and if even in our stomach there are enzymes that are secreted to help digest our food, what need we and what concern with live enzymes? Now, secondly, some say, well, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they ate all of their food raw. Adam and Eve had perfect bodies, perfect digestive systems, perfect everything, even perfect food. So with such, there is no need for that. You know, the one story I was going to share with you is about a young lady who went on a raw food diet. Well, to make a long story short, she started experiencing burning and also frequent urination. And she eventually went into a seizure and passed out. They called the 911, the ambulance came, and on the way to the hospital, she had a third seizure. Finally, when the doctors finished with her, they told her that she was undernourished, devoid of vital minerals, suffering from kidney failure, suffering from brain swelling due to severe electrolyte imbalance and hyponatremia, a condition caused by excess water in the blood, which can result in dangerously low levels of sodium. And so we see, after they finished with her, they had to put her on a saline solution to get her proper nutrient flow and electrolyte flow back up. So that's just to share with you some of the things. We are short on time, or I've run out of time. But keep in mind and know God's true methods of health and healing as you come across some of these things. So let us close now with a word of prayer. Father in heaven, this topic, it covers so much, and there's yet even still more that we as your people should know. But even more so, Father, we should become very familiar, as you've told us, with your true methods of health and healing. So let us now study that which is true, that when we come across that which is the counterfeit, we will know immediately, Father, and not only for ourselves, but that we can redirect others in the path of true health and healing, but also in the path of righteousness. Now be with us and continue to watch over us and keep us. I